Have some patience with us. Thank you. Thank you, Simwaka. As we wait, please tell us where you're joining in from, which part of Zambia, which part of Africa you're joining this webinar from. So I can see Simwaka, you're from Lusaka. Hi, Simwaka. We're together in Lusaka. Anybody else from a different part of Zambia or even a different part of Africa? Oh, Sibongile from Dola. Hi, Sibo. And Jordan, you're from LA. Yay! Thank you for joining us. Sharon from Nairobi, Patricia from Lusaka. Thank you, everybody. Hello, Chikondi from Lusaka. Thank you for joining us. Joshua, yes. Keep those comments coming, you guys. Hi, Kombe. Kombe from Ndola. Thank you for joining us. Our 3 minutes are done. So everybody who hasn't joined us yet will join us as we go on. Let me just share my screen. Please confirm when you can see my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you so much. As I said, my name is Muyanjeli Kumba. I am the Data and AI Associate here at Bongo Hive, and I welcome you to tonight's event that is the Vibe Coding with Bongo Hive. Before we start, I just want to give you a brief introduction to the AI Literacy Week. This was an initiative with Kala in conjunction with Bongo Hive that aims at bridging the AI knowledge gap within Zambia. Before we go further, I'd like to introduce who Kala is. Kala is a Kenyan-based company who are pioneering digital transformation across Africa. That vision is to steer empowerment and innovation across the healthcare solutions, financial services, and digital economy. So you can find out more about Kala at the website that is www.kala.com. And they reached out to Bongo Hive AI Lab in particular to partner in this initiative. And you may be asking yourself, maybe you have not heard of us yet, maybe you have heard of us, but I'll just go through our mission again. That is to drive innovation across the continent, which aligns very well with Kala and harness artificial intelligence effectively. So we aim at catalyzing economic growth whilst addressing social challenges. We do this by accelerating adoption of AI, building local expertise, and driving impact within our AI ecosystem within Zambia and Africa as a whole. You can find out more about us at ai.bongohive.co.zm. Our link is just down here. So why the AI Literacy Week? Who are our target audience? What does it mean? So our target audience for this week are students, developers, professionals, anyone eager to solve real-world challenges using AI or make their lives a little bit easier using AI. This partnership involves Kala and Bongo Hive, and we're collaborating together to create Africa's next AI leaders. And our mission is to democratize AI knowledge, meaning making it so accessible and positioning Africa to be a global powerhouse in the AI revolution. The impact we aim to achieve is to be a game changer in fostering AI, innovation, knowledge sharing, and skill development. The current challenges that we're facing in AI right now, and the reason why we needed this AI week and pushing this agenda forward, is that we have limited AI literacy, meaning students, lecturers, even just people in general lack essential AI knowledge and skills, and there are very few localized solutions tailored to the African context, tailored to the Zambian context, and we want to create an environment where a lot of people can customize solutions, create custom solutions to fit our needs. And lastly, we have very insufficient learning platforms. So hopefully with these conversations, we're going to create better, bigger, and more impactful AI learning platforms. So that is all from me. At this point, I am going to let our host or the main event, that is Mapalo Lukachi, to take over from here. Mapalo, you can take over.
Well, greetings, everyone. Excited to be joining you today in AI Literacy Week, where we're looking at unpacking vibe coding for local developers. Now, those of you that are on the call and you're like, well, I've never coded in my life and I wouldn't code to save my life at all, you don't have to worry. One of the things I love about this day and age is that AI is on the path to make every person a builder. So technically, this is going to be a conversation that will border between tech and non-tech people. And I think there's something for everyone. So I want you to just pay attention. And hopefully this is what you've been waiting for to push you over the edge to improve the quality of your work or to get you started with AI and coding. This could be maybe the moment in your life that changes you, right? One mentor of mine said this, that our lives change in moments and it just takes a single moment to change your life. So we hope as Bongo Hive and Kala today, we are able to be those people that will help your life improve. So welcome again to the AI Literacy Week, and welcome to this masterclass that's designed specifically for local developers looking to harness the power of AI tools. I'm Apollo Lukashi. I'm the data and AI lead at Bongo Hive, and I head the AI lab, and I'm excited to take you on this journey. So what are we going to dive into today? We're going to dive into a couple of things. First, we're going to look at the hype. This is like the hype of AI, and especially in the coding space. Then we're going to talk about the opportunity that AI presents to local developers, right? How we can unlock innovation through AI-powered development tools. After we look at the opportunity, I want us to look at stuff to do with the landscape, the potential that AI has within local spaces. And more particular, I'll give an example through the Zambian landscape. And then we're going to look at top tools. These are top vibe coding tools that if you're not aware of, you will want to be aware of. Then I'm going to give you some practical tips. I'm going to get a bit practical in this session and just show you how you can then go ahead and build premium looking sites really quickly using vibe coding in less than just 5 minutes. You can really improve the quality of your landing pages. And I'm going to show you a little neat trick never seen before anywhere else, but then we're going to do a reality check, right? We're going to look at what are the pitfalls of this happening. Obviously, there are concerns with the growth of AI getting into this space because, AI in development is no longer a future thing. It's a present day event. It's here already, and it's already changing the developer landscape. So what's a reality check? We're going to really look at what are the potential pitfalls and how we can navigate those, right? Then we're going to talk a bit about your strategic framework. So this is something that I'm going to allow you to get to part our way with, because this is going to help you think differently and hopefully give you an edge wherever you work, wherever you are involved. I hope that will be very valuable for you. So to get started, I wanted to just do a disclaimer. Some of the statistics you will see in this particular presentation are from very well-researched sources. And just wanted to let you know some of these sources include McKinsey, Stack Overflow, Ops Level, GitHub. And I just wanted to let you know that there's quite a lot of research that went in to be able to ensure that the numbers that I will be showing you soon are numbers that have been verified through research and are numbers that at least can be trusted to a high level. That being said, let me get into the meat of it. So we're looking at the hype, right? AI has been explosive. Like ever since AI came on the scene, we've had top people, top talent. We've had Bill Gates commenting on it and saying, look, the first time I saw such a big revelation or revolution was when, the internet happened. But now AI is the next big thing, right? We've had people within local spaces coming out and saying, you know what, we need to invest in this area. Strive Masiva just announced that they're building, an AI data center in Africa. We are seeing people as well, the Bill Gates Foundation partnered as well to set up another one in Nigeria. So this is happening on our continent. This is not far-fetched. It's not something that's happening in a continent somewhere that you've only watched on TV. We're looking at a continent where we have actually potentially grown up and stayed, and that's what we're talking about today. There is a hype all over the world, and it's doing a lot of change. Now, in the developer space, what we're here to talk about is what is the surge that's happening? What's the unprecedented adoption currently taking place? And we noticed that the integration of AI into, software development, like I said, isn't a future trend, right? It's something that's here today. It's a reality, and it's revealing that there's dramatic and rapid uptake of AI coding tools by both organizations and individual developers. And some of you on this call are potentially already vibe coding. You're going to do me a favor, whether you're listening to us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or right here on the Zoom call, put in the chat if you've ever heard the term vibe coding and if you're involved in vibe coding at any level right now. That'll be very important information. Please, if you can do that, we'll greatly appreciate. Our team is on the chat as well. So if you've ever done vibe coding, if you've heard of the term, just go ahead and indicate that within the chat. It's great to see the chat moving. Appreciate that's happening. Let me just move on this level. Another thing that I would like us to focus on here is the statistics. So we noticed that within just a single year, from 2023 to 2024, generative AI adoption by organizations doubled in just 1 year. That is an increasing amount of interest. Within a single year, we saw a doubling in the adoption of generative AI by organizations. That's a huge adoption that happened. And this is a global statistic, right? And this is something that we should think about. If the world is already recognizing generative AI and adoption is spreading, this is something that we need to not only be talking about, but really asking ourselves if we are falling back and what we should be doing to catch up if we are, right? Another statistics that's more individual driven is that there's been a developer toolkit revolution, right? 76% of developers, that's maybe you, that's me, are now actively using AI coding tools in their daily workflows as of early 2025, right? This shows that there's been a profound penetration of AI assistants that are, no longer just novelty things, but they've moved to a state of necessity. From GitHub Copilot, we've had products like Rue Code that can be embedded. There's a plugin that can be embedded in VS Code. We've had products like that coming in, and we're seeing a lot of assistants that are available at the access of developers today within IDEs that developers love and care about. But that's not all. There's also been a study that has shown that there's a multi-tool approach. No developer is faithful at the moment. Like, developers are actually not loyal to a single tool. 59% use 3 or more different AI tools, as we can see here on the right. So there's a good chance that if you're vibe coding, there's probably 3 or so tools that you're actually utilizing, that you're currently exploring and trying to find out. And I believe this also extends beyond just code. This also extends to just word generation. Many people are testing out different tools for that as well. So with this hype, what then is the opportunity that we should be thinking about as individuals, as developers, as people who are really interested in this space? Well, number one, we need to understand that there's a need to be able to supercharge our productivity, right? This allows for local innovation to be energized by AI. If we were being able to do certain work in a traditional sense, like look at the left graph right here. There's been a 55% faster task completion ever since AI started being adopted. And we had AI assisted tasks through AI assistants agents within our environment. This has already shown that from a time when we were doing stuff traditionally, it's much easier to be able to complete a task if you are actually using AI to help you code. And in controlled studies, this was proved that GitHub Copilot completed specific routine tasks up to 55% faster than those without. So that shows you that if you are a developer today in the local market, that is, being a Luddite, right? Being someone who is opposed to the rise of technology, you may be getting slower than your colleagues who are adopting this and are doing it unapologetically. And we must ask ourselves to say, how much more efficient, how much more can my productivity be boosted when I learn vibe coding and learn it really well? There's been really interesting terms out there. Some people call it software composure. I like that one, by the way. I like that more than vibe coding. There's software architects. But this is the power and the opportunity. You can minimize your task completion rate by over 55%. Then we also have a change in your developer day. Studies show that the routine tasks, that developers were running before AI used to take approximately about 55% of their time. That is about 65% of their time. And these were tasks like debugging, searching, docs. But then you see like the high value tasks took about 45%. So actually 35% of their time. The design, the collaborate, and the learn. But with AI, people are now able to spend more time on the high value tasks like designing, making sure you have the better UI flow, the user experience is great. People are able to focus on how they can collaborate and improve the product they're working on, and they're able to learn more as they go. And they're spending less time to debug because now there are AI tools that help you to debug, to search, and just be able to arrange your documents. You don't have to create your own folders anymore. You literally can have AI create your file structure today. So if AI is automating the lower value tasks and allowing developers to reallocate their time to system design, collaboration, and learning and innovation, then we as local developers should also be seeing a change in how our day-to-day tasks are being done. So if that's said and done, we've looked at the hype, the opportunity. Let's have a chance to be able to look at how this opportunity extends in terms of how short it has made the developer life cycle. So the studies also show that generative AI has changed product development, right? It's compressing the minimum value product duration timeline from months to just weeks, and sometimes even days. And here are some cool examples. The studies show that a traditional MVP could have taken anywhere between 4 to 6 months. So you're a startup aspiring to be on a Bongo Hive, program. You're aspiring to join a Mind Tech. You're aspiring to join a Women in Tech. And you want to be part of our programs, but yet you've been stuck in development for 4 to 6, maybe even 10 months. I remember one day asking a developer friend of mine back before I got into the space to say, I need you to help me build a website. And he told me it was going to take him 6 months to do it for me. And in my mind, I was like, wow, by 6 months' time, I would have maybe lost the zeal for the idea, right? But with AI, we're seeing that this timeline has been shrinked to just 2 to 3 months and also potentially days and weeks. I personally I've been able to see myself build full stack apps in just under 24 hours. This is an application that has integrated authentication, that has been able to integrate payment systems, that is functional, that has AI inside it, that has a database built within a space of just 24 hours. It shows you that the world is changing and we need to adapt. A good example is that HIPAA, a compliant AI assistant for US hospital group, was built and launched in just 45 days. Then there was a junior developer who built a functional inventory management MVP with no prior back-end experience. He built it in just 72 hours. This shows you that who may be the next, Bill Gates out there. I mean, even be someone who hasn't spent time coding for a very long time. I hope that makes someone excited because of the reality that you might not need as much to get ahead today. You might just need to be smart and adapt to technology quickly. So now, if we're to talk about the potential and what's next for Zambian developers, Kenyan developers, anyone on this call, here are a few statistics that may vary depending on what part of the earth you are on. But the potential here is that startup growth is likely to go to 400%. Because if we have more people learning vibe coding skills and being able to translate ideas into reality through practical apps, web apps, SaaS products, we can see a boost in startup growth and startups that are actually entering the market. We can also see more youth participation beginning to grow and increase to over 100% more than it used to be. We also have an export opportunity. We are now at a place where we can export code to the world as well. We can have local developers actively participating, whether it's on freelance platforms, to actually build products for people out there in the world. I have seen Zambian developers doing some very amazing stuff for people in the US. I have met friends in the US where currently I have been, and I've seen that this is really changing the way the landscape works. So you can not only be limited to your local environment, AI has given you the power and the potential to reach out to other markets, because AI may be able to code for you stuff that may have taken you a little bit more time to figure out and code on your own manually. And for clarity as well, for the people in Zambia, currently Zambia ranks as the 4th fastest growing tech ecosystem in Africa, with AI creating unprecedented opportunities for freelancing and global market access. So there is a potential here that we need to take into consideration and begin to act on. Another thing that you would want to know is that there is potential for you to develop web apps in this space using vibe coding. You can be able to focus on areas most Zambian developers may not even be focusing on just yet. And because we're having a conversation on vibe coding for local developers and even people in different spaces, I know we've got people from different parts of Africa today, you must be asking yourself the question to say, what is the local challenge that I can solve for with these newfound skills, right? How can I be able to build solutions that people not just love, but actually need? And this can range from you building your web development applications to a mobile app with tools like bots.new. You can be able to code as they are partnered with an app making company, and it makes the whole process easier for you to even deploy to App Store and to Play Store, right? You need to think through what are the growing sectors within the local market and how can AI be useful to help me build those solutions. You can think through automating steps that you previously did. If you find that you went to your makeshift shops within your environment, ask yourself, how can I make their processes more seamlessly? And you may find yourself building a solution other people may have neglected, but yet is valuable, right? How can you innovate the current payment and banking solutions in your local environment? Because if there are over 3,000 developers in Zambia alone, and how much more Africa, then we need to be asking ourselves, Why are we facing certain challenges today? At the same time, how can we also unlock the challenges of having access to mentors and modern development tools? And the answer lies in the fact that some of these tools are actually accessible today. And some of these mentorship platforms are available through platforms like the AI Lab by Bongo Hive, Kala's work in Kenya and different parts of Africa. And you do not need to stay alone, and you have a chance to be able to build and actually get people who are as motivated, support you, and help you on the path to getting grant funding. So that being said, I want us to be able to dive into some practical elements. So the time when AI broke out, there's been a lot of cool tools that have been coming out. And an old adage saying says that in a gold rush, it's better sometimes to be the people selling the shovels and the picks than the ones that are mining the gold. Now, the reason why I say that is that there've been a couple of startups that have gone to raise over hundreds of millions of dollars just this year alone, like Bolt and Lovable in particular that I know of, that have raised over $100 million each just after launching not too long ago. And these are applications that are essentially building full stack applications with prompts. You don't need to know a single line of code. What you just need to know is you need to know what you want to build and improve on your prompting skills. So a few that you might want to know, this is not the whole list of vibe coding tools. There's a lot right now. The ecosystem is growing every single week. I keep on coming across new ones that are not even on the list. But these are my favorite ones, and I think these are the ones that I've seen really do some amazing stuff. We have Kesa. Kesa is very good for people who love that traditional, developer environment. It's very similar to VS Code in terms of how it's set up. It's got a code editor that's optimized for large projects, and it has got deep refactoring capabilities. What refactoring means, it can break down your big files into smaller files so that your application is not too heavy. And this is very good if you're building a very large application. Kesa can support applications that are bigger and that are both Lovable, V0 cannot support at a certain point. And like I said, people are using different tools. So sometimes you can start from both, but move it to Kesa. You can start from Lovable, move it to Kesa, but that's how you can be able to scale your prototype. I know for some of you, these are the first time you're coming across them. I will show you some of these in this particular call so that you can appreciate the power of what they're capable of doing. Boat.new has raised over $120 million and still raising. They have a rapid full stack MVP builder that creates functional applications in minutes, and it's perfect for startups. All you need to do is go to Boat. It has this text box, and I'll show it to you soon. And all you need to do is simply be able to add a prompt for what you want to build, whether it's a simple notepad app, a habit tracker, whether you're building a website for your portfolio, you're building a website for your company, you can be able to code that in just a few lines. The biggest success I've had in being able to build a full application took me 2 prompts. In 2 prompts, I had a full website built. That was my closest I've come to record time. Others perhaps have done it in a single prompt. Everything is working. But it's just to show you that these applications are changing the way the world works today. And you should try them out if you haven't yet tried them out. Windsurf is also a very good one. It's also similar to Cursor. There are rumors that OpenAI wants to purchase it and having conversations in the background. They're not yet proven or validated. But Windsurf is also a coding tool that also has a similar environment to a Visual Studio Code that most developers are familiar with. And because I've been kind of distinguishing those that are developer environment friendly, I must say that both .new and Lovable.dev and V0 are good for non-tech people. If you're a non-tech person, you will find this very easy because all they have is a text chat box and you just talk to the AI. And I think that's simple for anyone to do. If you agree that you can text, please just let us know in the chat that, look, I don't think texting is hard enough. I can text, right? And that's pretty much how simple this is becoming. Lovable.dev started off after Boat, but has quickly been prototyping and building its platform. It's very good for early prototypes with auto generation capabilities. One thing I love about Lovable is that with a single prompt, it can go as far as almost building you and maybe a 70% ready website, because the first prompt, if done well, it will build you all the pages that you need for your website, and it will really try when it comes to the design. V0 is mostly front end, so it's good for those who want to test out a front end build and then move to a back end build. So I've talked a bit, and I'll come back to my slides, but I want to show you what this looks like in the real world. And I want to be able to just show you how you can do stuff. So I'll move first to one more slide that will help me to guide you with this. There are a few tricks that you can do to like elevate your builds, and I'm going to show you some ways you can do that. So if you start with Boat or Lovable, which I would advise you to do, you can start with building your initial MVP structure very quick, you know, with automated scaffolding. What that means is that a scaffolding essentially is a rough build of how everything will be set, right? It talks about the structural build here. So if you are starting to build something, you want to build a shoe website, right? A Nike type of website. You can go to Boat, you can go to Lovable, and there's a trick that I love to use, and I'm going to show that to you. And this is a trick where you can ask the AI agent to say, how best can an AI agent build a website like Nike? And you let it define to you how it best would build such a website and use its definition as your initial prompt. By asking it, you'll find that it's more likely to build a better prompt than you would ever build. And that can help you build a very, very robust application with your first prompt when you ask it to build. And I'll show you an example just now. So I'm going to go to our Boat. And this is, I know it's a little bit of a busy site. I want to show you what I did with this, and I hope I have the recollection on this particular chat. So if you can see my screen here, I told it to say, describe how an AI software coding agent can best build a premium shoe wear company website clone like Nike. And it was able to define to me, it's okay, building a premium footwear company website like Nike requires a sophisticated approach that balances compelling design, robust functionality. It went on and built a strategic approach. It talked about the product experience, the shopping and commerce, the user engagement, the content and the brand, how to go about the visual hierarchy, and it started building, right? So after I did that, I actually took that code and said, okay, let us build a premium shoe clone like website like Nike. And I essentially pasted what it said, and it began to code the entire application. So it built for me my file structure. As you can see, I have different file structure for my source files. Here I have my components, I have my types, I have my hooks. All this was not coded manually. It was coded by an AI. And I was then able to use a trick to try to elevate the design a little bit by picking something I liked on Pinterest. And I had it to do that. I had these animations and transitions. And I did this all in just about 10 minutes. That's all it took me to build this entire site. It didn't take me long. I did this like few minutes prior to the call and said, okay, I'm going to do this. I can just show you how easy it is to build websites today. And you can see the pages here. And I'm going to show you more examples as well of how you can do this, even like with Lovable and the quality that you can get. So I did the same thing with Lovable. I asked it to also define how best I can go about to build, describe how the same prompt, how I could build a software coding agent, all right? How an AI software coding agent could build a premium shoe wear company. After I defined for me, I was able to then have it build the site with the same, with what it gave me. I told it, okay, let's build the site now. You can see this, let us build the premium shoe-wear clone website. And I pasted what it told me as an approach. When it did this, there's one trick I did now, and I want to show it to you. But let me show you what the results look like. So this is what the end result looked like for one of the applications. I had this nice design here. Doesn't this look nice? And this was also done in less than 10 minutes as well. Then this was, let me show you another shoe design as well. This was another website design. This was the first one, and then I played a trick on it. So this was what it did for me immediately, and then I transformed it to this. So how did I get from here, where it was very basic, looked incomplete? This was the first prompt. This is what I got. I was like, this is okay, but I want it to look something like this. I want people to be like, oh, this looks good. You know, I want some animations. So I went to Pinterest, where you can be able to find nice designs. I essentially tapped that, you know, I wanted Nike premium footwear brand site UI. Then I found this design here. As you can see, there's a Nike Air Max. I liked it, so I was able to click on that, and I was able to save this as an image. Then I got this image and took it to an application called Perplexity. Now, for those of you who want a rare opportunity, I want you to be able to, wherever you are, screenshot this prompt here. So I told it that I want you to create a JSON profile design system that extracts visual data from this screenshot so that I can use the JSON output in bot.new to give it context on how to replicate such design systems in a consistent style. I told it to avoid including any content of the specific images. The output should include design style and the structure and anything that will help an AI replicate such designs. So I gave it a clear instructions, and it gave me this JSON file. I then took this JSON code, I copied it. In Lovable, if you are using a free version, you cannot edit the codes in the backend unless you have a paid version. But the trick that I used, and I'll show you, I came down here and I told it to say, give me a second, so that you can see the build process. So here's where we are. So you can also take a screenshot of this. I told it, look, upgrade the current homepage. Which homepage are we talking about? This one here. I didn't like it. It was boring to me. So I told it to say that, look, I want you to upgrade the current homepage with premium branding and styling, design UI, as guided by the JSON code provided below in square brackets. So this is a square bracket, and I just pasted all that JSON text here. And I essentially told it, follow the JSON and make sure to also add premium animations and transitions and word art to the homepage. So by using a design I liked in Pinterest, taking it to Perplexity, I was able to have a JSON code that is a guide. I didn't want it to take the text from it because I want to use it for any website I want to use it for. It doesn't even need to be a shoe website. And it was able to build me this nice application. You can see a little mouse there. You get to see all that here. Everything here is responsive. There's quick view over there. You can explore the full collection. So I was able to turn a boring site. So if everyone is doing vibe coding, this is how you stand out. This was a boring site to something a little bit more fun, something you know that a user would like. And a few more examples of the same scenario here, because you can get really crazy, and I'll go back. These are some of the stuff I did. I want to show you how they look. So this was another version, just do it. I got a black theme as well. I got hot deals. So this was also another theme. So if you like the dark themes, I think I'm kind of drawn to sometimes dark themes. Then I also did a little of a pink theme here. You can see this is responsive. What's your story? Built for greatness. So you can change the same website different ways by picking the designs that you like on Pinterest and then utilizing those to be able to elevate your design. So if that's been helpful, allow me to be able to go back to the slide so that we can begin to wrap up and allow for questions at the end of this. And I hope you have some questions I'll be able to answer. Unfortunately, I can't go through KESA. It's a little bit more complex. Maybe in a future webinar, we will be able to cover KESA, but that's how you can use Lovable and Bolt. So You can refine your applications with Kesa after you max out the size in Lovable and Bolt. You can connect to Kesa by essentially sharing your code to GitHub, which now Lovable and Bolt have, and then being able to clone your GitHub repository into Kesa and begin to continue to code from there. Then you can now deploy these. If you're asking, okay, if I build it, how do I deploy it? These applications all have a deploy button. Lovable has one that's built in. Both uses Netlify. It's very easy to do as well. Very easy to learn, and there are a lot of videos that you can use out there. And with this being said, the question that we ask ourselves is, wait, are there any pitfalls? What's the reality check when it comes to me being a vibe coder, and how is it affecting my environment? How is it affecting the developer landscape? Now, you need to understand that this explosive growth in AI is not without risks. And the speed can come at the cost of quality, security, and long-term maintainability, right? If not managed proactively. I just showed you how I proactively tried to upgrade the quality of my homepage by being able to look at designs I liked. And I did that under 10 minutes. When I'm doing a serious project, I even take better precaution so you can become more precise and do stuff better, right? So speed can kill. AI is good. It's fast, but if you take a bit more time, you reduce the risk of quality, security issues, because you're then able to look at things more proactively. So you want to be able to think through your code quality, right? There's a rise in code churn and copy-pasted code. This can lead to AI-induced technical debt, right? Making the system harder to maintain over time. There's also potential security risks. This happened with Lovable at some point. As people were building with the application, some of the database policies were not being built. So a hacker could easily go into the back end and mine data. They recently upgraded it such that now you can see where your security issues are, and you can ask the AI to be able to help you look up your database. Your database essentially is your backend where all the information is stored, and pulled from. There's context gaps, right? AI models often miss the big picture sometimes. And that's why you need to become better at prompting. For you to get better and using skills like the one I've shown you, sometimes it takes more practice. And for you to understand how you can begin to break down your code and your prompts even better, sometimes you may need to build one page at a time and not everything all at once. Then there's a human factor. Over-reliance on AI, especially by junior developers, can be dangerous and can hinder deep learning and skill development. And this will risk future expertise. We are potentially going to a future where there are no high coding experts like they are today, because if junior experts are highly focused on just vibe coding, they will never become really great at code itself. So you need to be able to love vibe coding. Don't be a Luddite and keep it away. You might want to take it with a pinch of salt and be able to understand how you navigate through these pitfalls. With that said, I'm going to be able to just share now how you can move forward. And this is my last lesson here, is you need to have a strategic framework on how you move forward, right? As you harness the power while mitigating risks, whether you're an organization, an individual, you need to think through a human-centric strategy. Having a human in the loop, having a human steward leading and calling the shots, right? Thinking through stuff. Whenever I build with Bolt, with Lovable, I read through everything that it generates. I read through its line of thought, because I need to understand what I'm building. I need to understand where the code is. I need to understand, where the pitfalls are, right? So first you embrace AI strategically, then you govern and guard, right? You implement quality standards for yourself. You automate testing, make sure that you test your code, ensure that there are no bugs in the code for security purposes. You then also think about upskilling your personal talent or the talent of your team if you run an organization, right? Train developers in prompt engineering. Like I said, the more you get better at prompting, which is essentially the ability to give AI a command, right? For those of you that may not know, if you can then learn this skill better, it helps you again improve the quality of applications you are churning out into the world. Critical evaluation of the AI output, like I said, read through everything, evaluate, see what it's doing, what it's missing, and see how you can correct that. You need to rethink the metrics. So move beyond the lines of code to holistic frameworks like space, and measure the quality and the flow, right? That's why tools like Kesa come in, because they can refactor some of the large files that might make your site heavy. So you can think through how it's also being coded. Then foster a culture within your organization, right? Encourage experimentation. Don't hold people back. Some of these things we learn by trying. All these little tricks I've shown you, and there's so many more out there. It's because of experimentation that people find out how these things work. You know, you could use other tools to also build you a better prompt. Then you can learn rapidly and, you know, get that feedback continuously, adapt to the evolving AI landscape. So this has been the sharing. There's something that I need you to do, and this is your key takeaways. Number one, AI tools act as a force for multipliers for developers, right? It's gonna help us be able to multiply. And then secondly, this is going to help us leapfrog with strategic tool adoption. So let's see the number of startups growing. Let's see youth involvement go up. Let's see more women coders. Let's see more people getting involved. Then we need to be able to combine tools, you know, that create unique competitive advantages, right? Learn which tools are stronger in what areas and utilize them. Now, as Bongo Hive, we are running a state of developer survey, and on my screen, there's a QR code and there's a form link here. Kindly check this survey, and so that we can all be aware of how we are all developing in the environment. We make these reports publicly available. So kindly, as a developer, and if you've sat through this training, welcome to being a developer, right? By default. Other developers will shoot me for saying, nah, these people don't know how to actually code. But I tell you, yeah, as an AI vibe coder developer, I welcome you to this developer world. Also take the survey there. We've got some questions on vibe coding. So you might want to also respond to those that may be relevant to you. But I'm gonna leave this on the screen and hand over to my colleague Muyanje to lead us through the Q&A section. And if this has been helpful, let us know. But Muya, over to you.
Thank you so much, Mapalo. I specifically love that trick for using the AI to teach you how to prompt and make even bigger, better prompts. Personally, I use that one a lot. So everybody, you can now start asking your questions within the chat. There was a question by Siwongile that was answered within the group, but just in case you want to expound on it a bit more, she asks, are these tools free, especially since she's a broke intern? Yes, for the interns there.
That's a good question. I deliberately used all free tools to even do the demos that we just saw today. So for context, Bodo.new gives you daily minutes. So you've got about 350,000 tokens per day. And then you've got about 1.5 million tokens for a full month. So if you do 350 today, 700 tomorrow, just like that until you run out of your 1.5, you have to wait for the next month. So they're not as generous as Lovable. I will say that. Lovable gives you 5 free prompts every day, not tokens. So it means that each prompt will run through a full cycle and build you a product. And if you have any errors, the debugging is free with Lovable. So I'd say Lovable is a very good one for you. As like you put it, broke intern, you know, it's a very good start tool for you. And you can experiment. They also have these community projects that you can remix. Essentially, you can copy someone else's project that is put in the public repo. Not all of them anymore are available, which is a good thing. Then you can improve on it. So you can really experiment with Lovable. Then if you have a time when you have money, it's only $20 for any of those tools, both bot and Lovable for a month. With Lovable, they give you like 100 more prompts for a month, but they still keep giving you 5 new prompts every day. So Lovable, you can build an entire app on the free plan. I've done that before a couple of times. So I would recommend that. Then if it's Kesa, Kesa also has very generous free tiers. And if you, by any chance, have a .edu email, you get premium free for a year. That's an educational email, a student email. .edu. If you are doing an online school somewhere or in another part of the world, you can use that email to get KESA for free for an entire year. So they are all free tools. They all have free tiers. And depending on how patient you are with the free tiers, you can build, it may take you longer, but you can still build full stack apps. I hope that answers it.
All right. Thank you so much, Mapalo, for that response. Just a little bit of a reminder, I have put the link to the form within the chat, so please feel free. As our Vibe developers, you're still a developer too, we need your responses. So here we get this question, is it still a must to learn programming languages, seeing that most of the work can be done while Vibe coding?
Who asked that question? That's a nice question as well.
That was from Yang.
Okay, appreciate that question. And what I would say is that we need to be very cognizant of the human in the loop theory, or what I'm trying to say is we don't need to take away the human entirely from this process. As a person who understands code, I appreciate what AI is capable of doing even a lot more, because I understand the flow of how my application should work in the first place. The danger in not learning code, at least if you don't, at the very least, learn how code structure should work. Like, how does code work? How does an app, get organized together? At least understand the fundamentals and vibe code. Like, you can vibe code without those, but if you want to get better and avoid troubleshooting that takes months or weeks, you will do better if you actually know coding. Because sometimes these applications will keep you in a loop over a small issue as just a semicolon that hasn't been added to a sentence in your code, right? And for those of you that code, you may know that a semicolon closes one particular coding line instruction. So as you learn this, my advice is that take time to at least understand the fundamentals, and that will help you be a better vibe coder, right? You want to compete with the best of the best. So you also ensure that you have your own learning path. I think that's my counsel on that.
Thank you so much for that response, Mapalo. We have another question from Chikondi that says, hi, Mapalo. Thank you for your helpful and informative presentation. Would you recommend the same vibe coding tools for building professional IoT dashboards and web apps?
100%. Y Combinator, one very prolific platform that supports startups, recorded that 77% or more of their startups in just 2025's spring intake, and also I believe the summer one they took in came in with applications that were vibe coded. Like, this is a platform. These are startups that already now current are valued at over $5 million. With the initial investment, they get about 7% of their business with Y Combinator, roughly. And these were vibe coded. A person like you took time to use a tool like Lovable and Bolt to actually start the process of building these tools. Now, like I say, these tools are limited sometimes, especially Bolt and Lovable. When they reach a certain size, they begin to be harder to code through. But KESA is the answer to that, right? With KESA, I've been able to build very complex applications. These are applications with billions of lines of code, and I'm not exaggerating at this point. Like, really huge stuff I've been building for months, and this tool is still doing the job on it. So you can build very complex industry-worthy level applications with vibe coding today. That's what I would say.
And also, just to add on what Mapalo has said, I know of a master student at UNZA who used vibe coding to create the software application of his IoT presentation for his dissertation. So it was connected to sensors for the hardware part of his project. So yeah, you can still use it for IoT purposes. Here we have a question from Muvala. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. To what level can we trust vibe coding with AI in terms of developing scalable, secure application or any software What's your advice to a junior developer?
Good question. The keyword there is trust. Apparently, there's a meme I saw today that Sam Altman, the founder behind OpenAI, is surprised that people trust ChatGPT. And there's a meme saying that that's the software you shouldn't trust. When it comes to trust in AI, I would always say that always the better way to put it is that don't just trust, ask questions, right? Have some level of skepticism so that you're actually curious enough to look through the code yourself. Like never let AI free range on its own. Always have someone watching it. That's one thing I would say. So it builds very beautiful code. It may build flawless code sometimes, but always have a default mentality to double check because it hallucinates sometimes. Hallucination is where it begins to make things up. And so it may code things that put your application at risk in terms of vulnerabilities with hackers. So here's the reason why it's important to also learn some coding, but yes, you need to be able to have some form of skepticism.
Thank you so much for that. So don't trust it with your firstborn child. It will, hallucinate. Our next question is, can you use vibe coding for cybersecurity purposes?
Absolutely. I mean, cybersecurity mostly actually, one thing I was surprised is that most cybersecurity professionals are not even taught coding a lot, first and foremost. What they are taught are systems. They are taught systems around security. And there are cybersecurity experts that don't even know how to write code. That's the first thing I want to bring to attention. Secondly, AI is able to write code in any space. It can write code that can build a virus, and you can put it and prank your friend. Please don't do that. That's a bad joke. But it can also code anti-hacking softwares. It can also build anti-AI hacking softwares. It really comes down to who the prompter is, because if I know what I'm doing, if I am a cybersecurity expert, I understand the systems, and maybe I also am a coder, a developer on top of that, I can combine my domain knowledge to really build a robust system that will help keep people safe online. So the tool is as powerful as the holder of the tool. What one person can do with vibe coding versus another comes down to the makeup of that person, their domain knowledge, their understanding, their commitment to doing this over and over again, because you get better as you do it. I've seen that also in my own personal experiences. Then you can know what you're capable of. That's why if you haven't started, subscribe today, get started to start experimenting. Zambia is waiting for the tools that you build, for the security system that you will build as you have asked that question. But thanks for that question.
Thank you, Mapalo, for that answer. And we now have another question from Joshua. So Joshua says, what are some of the best prompts when vibe coding?
Sorry, I missed that question.
Joshua says, what are some of the best prompts when vibe coding?
That's a good question and a little broad. The best I would say is that when it comes to the best prompts, it's a prompt that is well described and easy for the agents to follow, right? Especially prompts that can have a logical flow, step by step, telling, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to build that. And that is why the question I asked the AI was, can you describe the process that an AI agent could use to build ABC type of a site? Because when it's a process, it's also easier for the AI to be able to process it. Because AI was trained on a system that we call in data, where essentially it's a document type of database, right? So it learns top down. It was essentially scrolling through lots of information online, top down. So it's learned through a pattern of logical flow. And so if your prompts are also logical, it improves how it easily assigns your pattern to practice. So because of how it's learned, that's how it also processes information with a top-down approach to stuff. So the better your prompts are, most of the time it's when your prompts are more logical with a logical flow and that are precise. Because if you are very vague, it can build anything whatsoever, however it interpreted. So you want to be more specific, the further down you go. But I hope that's helpful feedback and appreciate that question.
Thank you so much, Papalo. That was a really good answer. So in the interest of time, we're just going to take this last question by Walia. It says, do we have companies in Zambia that can help us put vibe-coded systems on the internet?
Yes, Bongo AI Lab. We're hoping to host some hackathons in the future. So make sure if you're not subscribed to our social media pages as Bongo Hive, you do that so that you won't miss out. Be the first to hear when we put out calls for things like hackathons. We want to have more of these. We're actually planning around how we can bring vibe coders together as well, and hopefully see how this ecosystem grows. So yes, currently I can confidently say in Zambia we have Bongo AI Lab. So yes, it's not a marketing campaign. It's just fact. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. This has been a very, very interesting and informative webinar, Mapalo, and everybody who's joined us from all the way from Kenya, Ndola, Lusaka. We're very thankful. Please don't forget to answer the developer survey, and also follow us on, Facebook, and just sign up for our newsletter. That concludes our webinar tonight. Have a good night, everybody.